Hello.
And we are live. Yay. We got here. Welcome, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti, and this is Independent Crossroads, a show I haven't done in quite some time, but I figured my sort of one on one interviews will be done under this playlist of videos. And this is episode 7. And today I'm with Karl Stephan. Welcome, Karl.
Hi, Peter.
How are you doing today?
Good. Apart from the tech issues, I'm just a bit of a noob where it comes to this stuff. I think also noob is an old '90s sort of thing you're not supposed to say anymore. So that kind of makes me a super noob.
No worries, no worries. So there are a couple of people watching, but I will check in um, with the video later to see if we have any specific questions. But I just want to sort of do a general, who are you? What are you currently working on? How can people find you online? That sort of thing.
Uh, just another comic book guy, essentially. Trying to do an Indiegogo. I published a book a few years ago with Slave Labor Graphics called Sparko, and this is my first try again since then to try and get a comic book published. I'm doing a comic book called Mary Boys. It's going to be a 2-issue origin arc. Um, and let's see what I guess it's about 4 kids growing up in Thatcherite Britain, um, and raised in the ways of the ancient Knights Templar, fighting crime. Uh, in a
Ooh,
nutshell, in a nutshell. I mean, there's a bit more to that, but yeah, I
I'm
sent you
really
the. Sorry, Peter. Yeah.
yeah. You sent me a preview. I've been so crazy busy, I barely got a glimpse of it. But I've been following your progress because you're part of the 100s group, and a lot of people there definitely know your work. And I'm totally impressed with your art. It's just gorgeous work. Um, and I
Thanks, Peter.
and and yeah, if I wasn't so insanely busy, I would have read it already. But um, you want to show some samples to the audience here?
Sure. Let me put something up that. Also, I've recently started running Windows 10, and for some reason, I don't know why, but the picture viewer is just insanely slow. You know,
Mm.
because I bought a new laptop, I can't regress back to Windows 7 where it was just working just fine. Oh, can you see this?
There it is. Yes.
Yeah. That's a pin-up for one of the characters. To give you an idea, I've tried doing everything in traditional media. So this was done in acrylic, and all the interior pages are ink wash. The only thing digital is the lettering. So I've tried to keep it like that, just start as a stylistic kind of choice. So
Yeah.
there's another pin-up, just to give you an idea. Very British, very English. How to keep that element in there. That's the cover. That's the cover to the first issue that I believe you've seen before.
Yep.
And that's number 2. See, the Mary Boys have got this. They're based on the Ninja Turtles in a way, but I almost imagine them being as if the Ninja Turtles were raised in a bad part of town and they were British, then everything becomes a whole lot more somber. And this guy is pretty much their Splinter. He's this disheveled Catholic priest who's had a past life regression to the time he was a Knight Templar, and he raised these kids in the fighting arts, and they're all. The other thing is they all suffer from this medical condition whereby they can't grow hair on their heads, and they've got these massive hands and feet, but they metabolize alcohol differently to other people do. So when they drink beer, they become insanely strong and fast, and they can take a lot of punishment. So when other people think they're just getting, when you have a few beers, you feel a lot more headstrong and bold and what have you. They actually become stronger and faster. So that is almost like their superpower. That's a superhero as I like to get. But yeah, that gives you that's me. I'm just going through everything in this folder. What else is there? Yeah. Here we go. There's some of the pages. Like you can see, the first, just as a homage to Ninja Turtles 1, it starts off in the same shots with the same kind of caption as in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. So yeah, they run into this council estate with all these chavs circling around them, and yeah, because they've been drinking all day, they summarily just kick their asses really hard, and we get a little bit into their mission story. That basically they're trying to cleanse the town of all its social evils, to ward off a massive biblical apocalypse, and that's why they go out every night and play vigilante.
I would have never guessed. I thought it was like artistic choice, like that their heads are big, hands are big, that sort of thing. Because I look at it and it's just like, I almost see like, I see influences because of my background that might not be yours. Like I would have never guessed in a million years that you were influenced by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So like I see a lot of Will Eisner in your work.
Thank you, because yeah, Will Eisner is a massive influence. Will Eisner, Jack Davis, Wally Wood, those.
Jack Davis, yeah, I was going to mention like Mad Magazine.
Yeah,
would have been another guess of mine. Oh, that's awesome.
I love that stuff. To me, that's the epitome of great comic books. This drawing style. I think they hit a peak there that people just have not been able to, get back to. It's just amazing stuff.
Yeah. And I love that you're doing this all traditional and it's just. Do you have schooling in art?
No.
It's all self-taught.
Yeah. At some. I mean, I've always been doing comics, but doing it quite badly. And then a few years ago, I sat myself down and I went through all the basics. I went through all the things that are meant to make art appealing. Just values. Went through lessons in learning value studies, composition, anatomy, perspective, all the building block stuff. I recovered all that stuff, and yeah, just it was necessary. But that's I'm all self-taught. I don't think you can actually learn how to do comics from anywhere except reading a lot of comics and just focusing on the basics of art.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're definitely a talented artist, but on top of that, like your wash work is very impressive. Because I've played around with wash, and if I took it seriously, I could probably execute some good work. But just looking at your pages, it's like definitely a skilled hand behind it. A lot of people nowadays using computer for all that sort of stuff, but it's great to see it traditionally.
Cheers. Do you know The Goon by Eric Powell?
Yes, of course.
Looking at that really was probably what got me into thinking, maybe I should, because his influences are pretty much also, the Silver Age artists. You can definitely see Eisner and Jack Davis in his work. And I just really liked his black and white pages where he also uses ink wash to do everything. And I thought, that looks really good. I've got to try it for myself. Got to introduce it into my own work. So.
Yeah. Well, that makes total sense. I love the Goon, and Eric is phenomenal artist. So, yeah, I guess I guess I wasn't too far off in what I thought might be the influences. So that's very cool. So let me check really quick. I think I saw a couple of people pop in. Yeah, we got Ronnie Gunter, we got Abel Parsons, Comic Crusaders. Hi, everybody. If you have any
Hello.
specific questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll look back very soon. So
Good
cool.
show. People are listening.
Yeah.
Hit my-
Yeah. So I posted the Facebook Merry Boys link in the video, and also as a comment in the video, and your YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
You know, it seems like you get a lot of eyes within the 100s group. You're getting a lot of eyes on the comic pages, and people there definitely seem impressed. You don't have a big audience on your Facebook group or your YouTube channel, which to me is shocking, because the level of talent on your work is incredible. So that's it's like, more than anything, I wanted to get you on here, and my audience is a little bigger than yours maybe, and so we can get more eyes on what you're up to, and let me ask you this, like, how long does like one of your pages take from start to
That's the rub. It takes, yeah. No, look, for as a production stream, Inkwash is it's a failure in that sort of departmentalized sort of comic book creation cycle. It takes a long time. I would say where the project is right now, I've got 35 pages left to do. And it's rough, and they're all done in rough. So I've got the rough pencils done. Now for each page, that's going to take me probably another 2 full days of illustration to get it inked and toned, I estimate. So, but that's 2 full days. So if I, with the day job and all that, it takes me a good few days more than that to get this thing over the line. So yeah, I would say, just taking it, because with part-time, it doesn't really give you any sort of idea, because some days I just don't get time to draw at all. Being a dad and, with a full-time job, some sport from time to time, it just doesn't happen. But 2 full days, yeah.
Yeah, totally understand that. And I mean, I got even more respect for you to, like, actually, it takes as long as it takes kind of attitude towards your work, because it's like, I'm not the fastest, like, mostly I'm known as an inker, and I'm not the fastest inker because I believe in the quality of work. I'm trying to be more of an artist nowadays, and it's like I'm sort of slapping things together and hoping for the best half the time. But definitely, like, I feel like I've learned so much more, and I want to, like, take a breath and really put in time on an upcoming project, and where I can really, like, shine. Because in the end, it's like, there's millions of comic books out there. It's only the ones of quality that rise above all the others.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who can do comics in a very fast way, and it kind of feeds into their own style. Okay, I'm thinking Doug TenNapel, Doug TenNapel stuff.
Right.
Yep, yeah, and it's because he's got that specific kind of energy to his line work. It's messy, but it's not. But it's good. It translates that his work is the feeling of the book really well. And there are very few people who can do that effectively. I'm not one of those people. Everything needs to be meticulously thought out before. There are happy accidents, but not I can't make it work. I don't have the experience to make it work for me to that level. Maybe the next project I do will be something that's a lot looser, with simpler characters, for the sake of doing something fast. But not for this project. No, it's just not going to work.
Well, I don't know if you want to, if you're finished showing pages, you can turn to your camera or whatever if you want. Say hi to the audience, that sort of
Hi,
thing.
audience. Yeah, I'm going to plug it back in because I took it out because I thought that's what was slowing up. Let's see. Will it actually show up now again?
Yeah.
Because I pulled it out when I put it on the Hangouts. I'm just trying to see if I can actually put that back now. Now that things seem to be okay. Here's the camera. How do we? Let's turn the camera on. So it should be on, but it's not clearly. Can you? You can't see me, can you?
No, not yet. Well, you stop sharing within the Hangout and click that button. Should work at the
Yeah.
bottom of the screen.
Let's see. No, it's not doing that.
You'll get
Okay,
there.
I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop sharing the screen, and then see the camera on. Something's happening now.
Something's happening. It'll probably take a second. In the Hangout, we got Comic Crusaders saying, "Good looking stuff, Carl. If we can help in any way, let us know." So they're willing to help you spread the word. Peter, nice job on this interview.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to say the 100 Days of Making Comics challenge is some good people. I mean, really, really friendly faces. I think it's one of the smaller groups that I belong to, but I get so much interaction there. I get so much feedback, and I've met so many people through there. It's one of the better groups.
Yeah, it's definitely it's something that if you take the challenge, it's very grueling at times, but you learn so much. You learn so much doing it, and yeah, definitely like a lot of people within the group. It's like we recommend you doing it if you're making comics anyway. Join the challenge. Do it for 100 days. You don't have to do a video every day. You don't have to blog about it every day. You could do a weekly update kind of thing. It's just, the support in the group is incredible. And especially now that, it's like a lot of people were doing their 100 days for the anthology project. There were a lot more active people within it. And, it's like right now, it's like I'm sort of taking a little break from that. I check in every once in a while. But it's like, I got to catch up on work. Hey, it's funny. You mentioned Doug Tenaple. I got a project I'm inking where his character Bigfoot Bill is in there. I don't know if you heard of Detective Dead, but it's another Indiegogo character. And so it's Detective Dead versus Bigfoot Bill in a short story that I'm making. Doug didn't have anything to do with it other than saying, "Hey, you could use my character."
Cool. Doug's a cool guy.
But yeah, definitely. Love his work, and it's like people like him. I don't know if you know Tim Sale.
Tim Sale, yeah.
Tim Sale, like they're really fast. They have their work down to a science, and they can turn out work really fast, but it still looks gorgeous. And it's like I aspire to both ends of the spectrum, to do work that's really meticulous, because I am a bit of a perfectionist, but also to eventually be able to do some like quicker comics. Because I get so many ideas, like most of us. I get so many ideas. I just want to throw them out there,
Yeah, I'd love to do a 24-hour comic, like a 24-hour challenge at some point. Because I think what happens is you do get stage fright of your own work, because you have this thing in the back of your mind, you're going to screw it up. You're going to screw it up if you go faster than the speed limit, whatever the speed limit is that you've set for yourself. But I've seen I don't know if you've ever read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac by Johnny Vasquez.
Yes,
he did a 24-hour comic called Filler Bunny, which was just amazingly funny. It was like basically drawn and everything, but it was the energy was amazing. It's just, and he knocked it out and knocked it clean out of the park in that short sort of time frame. I don't know. I'd like to try something, or maybe like a Mark Hempel Gregory or something like that. Also, comics done very, very quickly, but they have something.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
worth communicating.
Yeah. You can't really, like, if you're so meticulous, like sometimes you lose energy in your comic, but if you just try to do something really fast, it kind of shows up. I mean, that's like just basically when you sit down to draw and sketch, you can really get the energy of the characters and the feel of it. But when you try to like pour finishes over it, it tightens up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's all a learning experience. So what kind of comics? I guess like a lot of things you already mentioned, but like what kind of comics influenced you when you started to read comics? Like what was the first comics you came across?
The very, very first comics were Asterix, Tintin, Mad Magazine. Those were the very first comics that I read. My dad used to really like Mad Magazine and the old Franco-Belgian comics.
Yeah.
Then I moved into superhero comics for till I hit my teens. I read until about 13, 14. I was really into Batman, Spider-Man, the Hulk. I really like those until the death of Superman. That at that point I decided, okay, this is ridiculous. After they brought him back, I felt a bit used. How dare you bring him back after all that? And I switched over to Vertigo, read a lot of Vertigo stuff, and just a lot of independent comics. And I kind of just carried on in that trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, me growing up, the first comics I came across were like Richie Rich and Archie because they were in my barber shop. My barber shop had magazines for the adults and like Richie Rich and Archie comics for the kids. From there I got into Marvel DC, but I also like seeked out like the independent stuff. And now it's like, especially with crowdfunding, we talked a little bit before the episode that maybe you wanted to talk about. Like you mentioned Indiegogo. I'm going with Kickstarter. There's slight differences between both of them, but I'm going to kickstart my retro comic character, and you're going to go to Indiegogo with Mary Boys.
Yeah, I'm thinking that just because most people seem to be happy with Indiegogo, I'm thinking of like a flexible sort of. It's just they you got more options with how long you wanted to run for. I'm still down with strategy here. I'm still thinking, can I hit it within 30 days or whatever it is for Kickstarter, or will I feel more comfortable giving myself a longer sort of goal? Because it's going to happen either way. One way or the other, I'm going to finish this comic book. It's just how am I willing to compromise? Kickstarter seems to work on the idea that if this does not fund within 30 days, then this project will not happen. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's a compulsion. It will happen. It's just when and what's the best way to do it. That's all.
Yeah. I sort of have I mentioned this, but I sort of have because I'm juggling a lot, and because it's like I'm doing this full time. I'm making art, working on comics, making a living, and I don't have a window that's too big. So I'm going to go for a very short time on Kickstarter, which is kind of insane. I'm going to go for 5 days and see if I can get it funded.
Okay. Okay. Well, that creates urgency, if nothing else, and it kind of makes
Yeah,
sense in a way, because it takes so much energy. It takes a lot of, like, answering questions, speaking to backers. If the window is that small, and you have that sort of following already, that might be a very good strategy for the right kind of creator. You've
yeah.
got a much bigger audience than I have. It wouldn't work for me, I'm sure, but might work for you.
Yeah, I think it's with you. It's only a matter of time. But yeah, I think possibly Indiegogo would be perfect for you. And if you give it enough room for people to become aware of it and find it, and that they'll go over there and pledge. I'll definitely, I do the Studio Synergy where I have a gang of people show up, so I'm definitely open to you coming back and talking about it when you do get it up and running.
Awesome. Thank you.
Um, yeah, my pleasure, man. The, so let me just quickly check if we have any questions.
No,
Love the scenery of your art, says Ronnie. How you approach your big scenes like the characters on the church. Yes.
how,
That's
how, how did I do that? That's reference heavy. I found a small Gothic church in Ireland that I referenced for that one. Um, and for some other scenes in the book, I built up a few SketchUp models that I would position and use. Not, I mean, some people take SketchUp and they will literally just drop it into the artwork. You can see it's a SketchUp model that hasn't been touched. I will take
right.
the basic shape, just to make sure that the perspective looks kind of right for where it should be, and then I just do the rest myself by hand. With it's more, it's not that reliance on references, but they are there to give you
Yeah.
like a sense of realism.
Yeah. So, is your day job currently related at all to art, or?
No, I'm an office worker.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I used to work for a publisher about 7 years ago. There was a comic book publisher in the UK that I was in the production department. It lasted about a year until they folded, but that was pretty good. That was a lot of fun. Um,
That that must have been a lot, really insightful for you, to learn stuff about the production end of putting together comics.
yeah,
Um,
I learned how to letter. I'm not saying my lettering is perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than what it was before then. Lettering, and just learning how to engineer a page. We were all encouraged to read Scott McCloud's books and Will Eisner's sequential art, and we got a good solid. It was kind of like a school. It was part of my development as a comic artist to work on the production side, because a lot of people just I don't know. Some people just don't deem it that important. Lettering is extremely important. If you can't read something properly, you don't want to. It fails as a medium of communication. But there you go. I don't know.
what they always say is like, if it's done wrong, then you notice it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the invisible art. You're supposed to. That's it. It's exactly it. If you will notice when there's something wrong, when there's a glitch, you'll know about it.
Yeah, it's like I've done some lettering myself, and I know I have a lot to learn. It's easy to look at something and point out what's good and what's bad, but it's something altogether, like doing it yourself, and like you know how you want to get it, but I don't know. It's like it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, what I found, I don't know how you approach your comic book pages, but when I from the layout page, from the thumbnails, I already think of, is there enough room? Are the characters in the correct order? For their dialogue. The person who's speaking first, are they on the left, or am I going to have those crisscross word balloons, which everybody should, avoid? Is every thumbnail, which is going to be a panel, is that one statement and one retort tops? Stuff like that. It makes you alive to all that. Um, But sorry, I'm rambling on now.
No, no,
Continue.
no. This is what people want to hear.
Talking shop.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, it's like nobody should work the way I work. I do things um, in probably the most incorrect manner, because I'm specifically trying to challenge myself with certain things. So it's like I'm not following the rules at all currently. I'm more like I'm breaking them, and then I'll pick up the mess off the floor, and eventually I'll do it the right way. But I'm seeing. It's like the joy for me at the moment is like seeing what does come out and work. If that makes any sense.
So sometimes, if you've got the right sort of experience, then you can break the rules. But that's only because you really know them, and you know
Yeah.
how far you can push. You can push them and hopefully land back on your feet again. I'm not there. I'm very far away from that point. So yeah, baby steps.
I mean, it's like I spent most of my career as a comic inker. So I'm coming at it from, it's like I'm trying to sort of break certain habits in order to develop other habits. Um, and yeah, it's like I'm coming in through the back door kind of thing, and um, I know ultimately where I want to wind up. So I don't mind. This is like my experimental stage. It's gonna be me. if you want me, that's what it's gonna be.
Good show. No, we need more people who take risks, unafraid to. I think there's a really good sort of undercurrent of indie comics coming out now, specifically. People not
Yeah.
afraid to take risks, not afraid to push boundaries. So, couldn't be at a better time, I think.
Well, it's like I've followed independent comics, since I've been following comics, and they're always the most exciting. I mean, it's like besides the fact that you get a creator on a book long term, if it's a successful independent creation, essentially. Um, you stay with that artist, the writer, whatever the smaller team is usually. Um, but it's like they have a unique perspective. It's not within the sort of like in the old days of Marvel, it was like everybody was sort of a Jack Kirby clone, or DC had very specific rules on how to draw Batman. You had to
Yeah,
always look the same. They're not restricted in that sense. It's wide open, and if a character dies in a book, it stays. The
yeah.
character stays then.
That's what I really liked about Cerebus. The plan was always this would be the course of his life, and he would die at the end, and that's the fate of everybody. I mean, like I was moaning about the death of Superman earlier, but I really did think, okay, it wasn't the first superhero death, but it was a significant one. I thought, okay, you really aren't going to pull this cheap trick on us this time, are you? But yeah, no. So there you go. Yeah, it's also only recently that they did away with house styles at Marvel Comics. You know, everybody
Yeah.
trying to draw the characters in the same way. It just doesn't make any sense. People should play to their strengths. I mean that's what made EC comics so great in the even back then in the 1950s. The artists were encouraged to draw in their own styles, and the stories were written around the artists. Like this guy can draw swamp scenes very well. Like we'll give him the one with the missing bodies in the mire, and this guy draws pretty girls very well. Yeah, we'll give him the slasher story. It makes sense. It just works. If
Definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
I loved EC books. My brother, picked up all the giant-sized hardcover editions of those, and it's just amazing to look at that art. It's so gorgeous. A lot of really talented people from there.
Yeah, yeah, the plain line art. I've got a few of them sitting on my shelf too. The Fantagraphics editions. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that stuff. That's really good. So, what are your favorite indie comics?
Well, like a lot of the first ones were, let's see, ElfQuest.
Oh yeah,
Colleen Duran did Distant Soil, Nexus, and a little later, like, even like John Byrne's Next Men. Of course, Mike Mignola's Hellboy.
yeah,
You
big favorite.
know, yeah, it's like some everybody has heard of, some nobody. Like, there was a book, Wandering Star
Don't
by
know that.
Terry Terry S. Wood, I think it was. Um, yeah, it was like a small serious comics or something like that. But Poison Elves, you hear of that? It's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, yeah.
That's the same publisher that did Wandering Star.
Serious Entertainment, I think.
Serious Entertainment,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, so they were out there, but not every book was as popular. But yeah, it's like a lot of that stuff. I mean, I guess like early on, I was inspired and influenced by so many people. I mean, it's like I can't break it down to like these 5 people inspire me, therefore these books inspire me. It's like I was definitely a fan of Will Eisner's Spirit. Loved that. Loved
yeah.
that book. I forget who was putting it out. Maybe it was Fantagraphics, the magazine-sized editions. Um,
Warren, I think the
yeah,
black and white one.
Warren. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
and Harvey.
and I love Jim Stranko. Jim Stranko, his work, almost everything he's done turned to gold. He for a while he's working at Marvel, but he's done a lot of his own create-own projects. Bernie Wrightson was another big influence for
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah. He's great. Yeah, yeah.
Between his Swamp Thing
Creepy.
and the total opposite was his Frankenstein work, his creepy work, of course. And therefore, Frank Frazetta, Al Williamson, uh, P. Craig Russell was one of my major ones. And it was, I saw him, I don't know, it's maybe 10 years back now, but I finally got to meet him in person and talk with him a little bit. So yeah, just so many. So so I just love comics and I love art, and I would never consider myself an art historian, but I could name 2,000 comic book artists, I guess.
Yeah, and it's amazing how big the pool actually is. Like you've mentioned a whole list of people, and here and there I would say, yeah, I've read that, I like that, but a lot of them I just don't know. You know, I just
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Like the John Byrne stuff, I'm just not familiar with it. And in the Steranko, a little bit here, a little bit there, but no, I haven't really delved into. Yeah, it's vast, but there's so much good stuff out there. It doesn't have to be the monotone of Marvel and DC. It's just there's a massive spectrum of stuff, and I just wish more people would see that.
Yeah. Let's see. Comic Crusader says Jim is awesome. Um, Wait, who you were talking about before, Jim? Geez, now I'm forgetting. Well, he mentions psychomagnetism. Does that ring a bell?
No, psychomagnetism.
I think Jim Stranko. Psychomagnetism. I have not heard of that. I guess he's talking about me. I have not heard of psychomagnetism. I mean, Jim Stranko did. Well, his Shield work was phenomenal. It was very '60s inspired artwork. Let's see. Yes, ask him about that one day. Hilarious. Okay. Cool. Well, Chandler, which was inspired by like '50s pulp books, was a graphic novel he did entirely in pencil, which, working in the industry as an anchor, looking at people's penciled work, most of it, like in comics, is colored over pencils. I don't like that 99% of the time, but Jim's work on Channel is awesome.
I've seen that a few times, and you're right. It's very seldom that people can actually make it work.
Yeah.
I agree. Still wrong. I gotta look that up. I have to broaden my horizons.
But he did a magazine. I want to say Previews. No, something like that. Back in the day, it was like this magazine size. Then it was like slightly even bigger. It was a lot about movies and comic books and sexy women, and he did. I mean, that's where I first heard about Indiana Jones and the Temple. No, and what's the first one? Temple of Doom. Jesus, it's been a while.
The Last Crusade was the second.
The Last Crusade. Yeah. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He did paintings for that movie, like, pre-production, that inspired Steven Spielberg to dress the character a certain way and make shots a certain way. And it was really fascinating to read. And like, that was before the movie came out. And when the movie came out, I just that's the only movie I ever sat in the theater back to back and saw it twice back to back. I loved that movie so much. But yeah, it's like, it's great to be inspired by all these other creators, but it's also like, I've been through the mill, like, past couple of years. It's like I was engaged, and then we broke up, and I kind of moved out to a farm with some friends, but they have like a million cats out there, and I decided, that wasn't for me.
You're afraid of cats?
No. I have 5 cats living with me right now, but at the time they had like 65. So
shit, that would scare me too. 65 cats. Like, why? Okay, why? What was the?
They're a cat sanctuary essentially. They have a couple of dogs and chickens, and but they have a couple of acres and lots of land. But that's what they do. They take in sick and injured cats and bring them to full health, and either keep them or give them people who want them, kind of thing. That's what they both love animals. But yeah, it wasn't for me, so I moved back in with my ex, which was weird initially, and at least until I got back on my feet, and then I got my own place and have my own place now. But it's like, I've had technical issues, computer issues, internet issues. I've had people promise me huge amounts of work and nothing happens, and I'm waiting and like great money, but it's like, it's like I've had up and downs. But but I love this industry. I love the people in it. I love going out to conventions. I haven't been to a lot of them lately, but I plan to again, more than likely next year. And yeah, I mean, I love the medium. It's just incredible. It's restrictive and not at the same time. It's like you could tell so many stories, and it's more than you can ever do in 10 lifetimes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't get that, and it's I partly blame superhero comics for this, but it's true. You can convey so much drama and emotion and action and anything in comics. I would probably say it's my favorite. It's my favorite art form. I'd probably put it just slightly above movies. That's how I feel about it. And the reason
Yeah,
being is that I can spend as long as I want staring at a particular page and admire it for its composition, for the art, for everything, until I move on to the next one. I can dictate the pace of how I absorb that.
yeah.
Whereas with a movie, you sit there, you're in for the ride, and you don't get to get off until the credits roll. You know?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So, besides your, what you're working on right now, where do you see yourself going? Like, do you want to sort of like create that opportunity to where you can do this full time, or you just want to create on the side where you could find time?
The latter, because I don't see myself as a professional comic book artist. I don't, for the reason being that I would, because realistically, you would have to work on bigger IP, and they won't let you do all the, you know, edgy shits I've been doing.
For anybody who gets a glimpse of your book, yeah, it wouldn't be something you would see in Spider-Man.
But that's the thing. I get this. I get a lot of satisfaction out of creating my own stuff. As anybody would do. I've never really, apart from Batman, I don't think I've ever really wanted to draw anybody else's character. And of course, Judge Dredd here and there, but I don't think I could do that day in, day out. Um, you know, I don't. What I want to do is once this arc is done, I've got a much longer arc, and I've got a bunch of short stories involving these characters. And this is just laying the foundation. So if the interest is there, I would like to do them for the long haul. It's not going to be just like a one-off project. After I've established them, I want to take them a lot further.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everybody listening live and everybody who catches the video later will, go to your Facebook group Facebook page and go to your YouTube channel and subscribe and like and comment and support you. And when you get your Indiegogo up, go there and pledge. Because I think it's incredible work inspired by comic book greats, definitely, and you're really just putting in the time, and it totally shows. And yeah, it's if I wasn't swamped, I would have read read what you sent me already. It's like normally I would beat myself up about it, but I'm not getting enough sleep.
It's
Put it
no
that
problem.
way.
I've got a 2-year-old, and I've got
Yeah.
So I know what it's like. Sometimes you feel like you're being chased by a million dogs or a million cats in your case. But no, it's fine. It's fine. Like like I said, I'm just trying to get as much airtime as possible. I need to just up my game in the social media department, and just start making videos, and just start at some point, like Jeff Lafferty.
Yeah.
It's like a marathon. What he's accomplished. What is he on 700 videos or something like? He's made so many. He's been at it.
Yeah, I think he's done 555 at least Artcasts. But I think he's done videos outside of that. So yeah, he's done a lot of videos. I would definitely recommend, giving him a poke and trying to get on his channel. His channel's like, 20 times bigger than mine. And he's an incredible interviewer. If you've ever seen any of Jeff's interviews,
yeah, I have. And he comes across as a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's like a good country boy or something. I don't know how to explain it, but he's totally relaxed, but he asks the right questions. I'm a casual New Yorker. I don't know. That's my perspective.
Yeah.
But this has definitely been fun. Let me just check one last time. So we got, hey, Kevin Phillips made it in. We got don't like pencils as FA either. Oh, yeah, just talking about, I guess, code. Computer colors over pencils. Yeah, it's like, especially me being an inker most of my career, it's like, oh, it just kills me. It'll look better inked. God damn it.
Preach. Amen.
Yes. But yeah, so is there any last things you want to mention that you want people to know about? Feel free to say it now.
Cool. No, just I guess check out my channel. Would you mind putting up a link to my YouTube in the links below, so that people can know where to go? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Is there everything there?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yep.
Then that's fine. No, I'll let you get on. I'll let you crack on with your deadline. Now,
yeah.
Thanks for making the time to interview me. You've been really great.
Oh, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. And I'm sorry the camera didn't work for whatever reason, but people got to see your work, hear your voice. I thought that your video where you shave your head was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's gotten the most views ever. I think it's probably because I tagged alopecia and hair loss cure in the view. So you got to be smart about these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have much hair not too long ago, and I pretty much shave it once a week. So I'm pretty much hairless.
It's a winner's haircut. All winners have it.
Yep. But cool, man. It's so good talking with you, and yeah, I want more and more people to go check out your work. So any more links I can possibly throw in there for you? You can send to me anytime.
I'll send you. I've actually got a list of links. That I'll just pop over to. Should I just put it in the chat?
You can send those to me on Messenger, and I'll put them on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
My pleasure. So thanks everybody for watching. This has been Independent Crossroads, the show I used to do, and now it's back. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you, Carl. It's been great, and I'll be back probably Monday. So take care, everybody.
Lovely. Thanks, Peter. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Cheers.